Essential.
Okay, everybody hear me? Everybody see me?
Yeah, I can hear you and I can see you.
All right, what's good, everybody? Welcome. Good, really excited of the conversation that we're about to have today, and it's all vibes. Just if you have anything on your mind, feel free to share. It's a free space. And Williams is going to be co-hosting as well. It's a little electricity issue right now going on and where he is right now, but we are live and we active. Also, if there's anything that you guys want to do or to support, you could also, and also for information, you could always visit Rotary Club for Social Entrepreneurs. Um, that's the organization created by Dr. Monica Grant. Really happy to be here. But a little bit about myself. Before we get into it, my name is Samira Issa. I am Nigerian, Yoruba, and also I am New York City as well. I'm in Brooklyn. Right now, I'm just excited to be here. So, what's up with you, Williams? How you feeling today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Just that we are having a really bad day in Abuja. A very catastrophic wind blew and messed up our electricity supply. So yeah, I'm in the dark right now, but I'm excited to be here today to co-host this event with you. And of course, I'm excited about the topic we'll be discussing on as pertain to Africa. Yeah, and I look forward to meeting everybody who has logged in for this event. And of course, we share and rub minds and share ideas together. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. You see how like God worked, they trying to kill greatness, but we still doing this shit in the dark. Like that's powerful. Redefining the African narrative, and we also showing how we use our black art, our creative expression, how we generate so much into the world, and how we could reclaim that back. And it's as simple as a conversation like this one. So first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little intro, but also we want to get into the agenda and also do a little prayer, just so we can bring greatness into this group, peace and tranquility. I think that's very important. So first, and it really doesn't matter where you are, and what religion you are. We all people, and we all love ourselves. Hopefully, we all want to do better. So here we go. Williams, do you want to implement your first words or do you want me to take it away?
Sure, take it away.
All right. So I'm not gonna say bow our heads, I'm just gonna speak from the heart. Thank you, God, Allah, everybody up there who's looking down on us and also making sure that we're in good hands. I appreciate you for keeping us here together, bringing us together, and also that means that we are all like-minded individuals and we've come here for peace and the freedom of speech and expression. I thank you for putting me in a place and a position to be a part of an event like this, and also put me in the face of people who want nothing but better for themselves, no matter what. And I am also thankful for my age, my skin, and where I come from. Um, and I say that truly. Williams, is there anything that you want to say that means something to you?
Oh, thank God for this day. We thank God for how He's brought us together from different places in the world to have this event. And I pray that God give us success and of course give us clarity of thoughts and we achieve the goals we've set out for today. And I pray in Jesus' name, Amen.
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 Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. And also, I just want you guys to keep in mind of the chat. If there's anything that we speak about or you want to say and you do not and we don't go over it, you can also say in the chat, and then I will bring it up to the discussion. Um, I just want everybody to quickly unmute their mic so I can see that you are active. Just so I can see that you are active and you can hear me. Please unmute your mics real quick. You don't have to talk. Just quickly unmute. And yeah, that's it. Okay, we got one unmuted. We got two unmuted. Thank you, QZ Lazi. Thank you, Professor. Okay, thank you. I don't want to butcher your name. It sounds very cultural and beautiful. Thank you, Lambe. I know. Come on, Lambe. I know you see me. I know you see me, Lambe.
I did
I
it.
can't hear you. I bet. What's up? We got everybody here unmuted. Thank y'all so much. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Um, Now, William, where you at? All right.
All right.
So,
Thank you, Samira, for this. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great pleasure to be co-hosting this event today. And as we look towards using art as a catalyst to redefine the African narrative. So I want to start off with this, that it is safe to say that for anything that needs a redefinition, there have been in existence a definition that is untrue, a false definition. And for the fact that it is important for we as Africans to redefine our Africanity or redefine the African narrative, it then means that for a very long time, we have believed a narrative about Africa which is untrue. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we are set out to, first of all, establish what narrative we have believed in of Africa for a long time, and of course, which narrative we are meant to believe in as Africans. And I tell you what, guys, there is no man that can live up to his or her full potential if that man does not know who he is, right? No man can live up to his full potential if that man does not know who he is. It is easy to kill a man with gun and knife, and you just killed a person. But if you take away the identity of a man, you've not just killed one person, you've killed an entire generation. So, guys, it is when we talk about brutality that can only kill the flesh, it's even it's easier, it's less brutal compared to that that is fashioned to kill the identity of a man and rob him of his future. So, guys, today our conversation is centered on using art as a catalyst to redefine the African narrative. Thank you very much.
definitely. Speaking of that, art, I think art comes in different aspects. We got dance, we got poetry, we got painters, we got poets. I just said that. We got people who just speak, who are motivational speakers. I think that's very important. I'm just curious because I like to ask questions. So for anybody who speaks another language in this room and you speak English, do you dream in English or do you dream in your native language? I'm just curious to know. Y'all can unmute whatever y'all want to do.
Can I answer that question?
Yeah, Lambe.
So sometimes it's both. So sometimes like you be having a conversation and then the person is speaking like my native language, or sometimes it'll be like, it's basically just like real life. Sometimes I dream in English, sometimes I'll dream in my other language. But the only difference is I will be way more fluent in that language in my dream than I am in real life. Like I will know all the words, all the phrases, everything in my dream. But if I was to like say it in real life, I would butcher it or I would like be mispronouncing everything. So it's just like real life. It's just like I'm more fluent in my dream.
And where are you from, Lambe?
I'm from Zambia.
Say that one more time.
Zambia.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Zainab, you had something to say?
Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Can you hear me clearly? Okay.
I
Yeah,
can.
basically what she would say basically like I could literally have a flashback and it would be like them speaking it, but like I would be the one speaking English. Like, I don't know, like I wouldn't dream of myself speaking another language, but like it definitely would be a
Okay.
case of like maybe the other person is speaking back to me. Like,
That's dope. Oh my God. I need to pick something up. Okay, Lazi said for me it comes mixed up usually. Okay, so I get that a lot of people say it's mixed, it's like real life, literally. That's good to
literally.
know. So, what about you, Williams?
Well, um, for a very long time, I don't remember dreaming in my language.
Wow,
I dream in English.
cool. That's what's up. And you
Yeah.
located in Abuja, right?
You say?
You located in Abuja.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Anybody wanna chime in on that?
Yeah, I actually want to say something. I actually had to think about this and I realized I have never ever dreamed in my language. It's so funny. Even whenever I have conversations in my head, it's always with English and never in my language. It's funny.
Wow. That's amazing because like I don't even speak another language and I make up a language just to escape English sometimes in my dreams. So it's cool to see people who speak another language and they dream in English. But also going back to language, that's something that's very important in who we identify as. And it doesn't matter where you are located and where you're from, you take it with you. Um, how do we consider blackness? So, we come up, especially because I'm located in America, so we come up in a different faces of culture and opinions and stuff like that. Some people consider themselves more black than others. Some people consider themselves true Africans. You're not from Africa, the continent. You're not from this country. You weren't born here, so you're not really the truth. And for people now, we have people who are from all walks of life, all ages, different countries. I really do want to have that conversation with people to what makes you a true African or what you feel like doesn't make you a true African. If that means anything to you. Free, open mic.
I feel like what really makes you African is the wantingness to really know where you come from. To be honest, it doesn't really necessarily mean that, you were born there, that you were raised 100% there. I feel like once like you like made your mind up to get in tune with your roots, and I feel like with a lot of Black people, some people try to push off the fact that, that a lot of them have African roots. It's just more so
Right.
of like, believing and actually wanting to like, accept the fact that this is what you came from. And yeah, I don't think it makes us any different. To be honest, if you ask me, everybody Black, everybody's from the motherland. So like there would really be no difference.
Definitely. Definitely.
Um, I think I agree with Zainab in that as long as you're in touch with the culture and as long as you're in touch with the language, then you are African. Because I think growing up, so I grew up in like Zambia up until 2020 when I moved here. And I was surrounded by a bunch of different African people who were also not Black. So I was surrounded by a bunch of different African people who are Norwegian or who are Australian, but because they had adopted African culture and that is what they had known like growing up and that's what they embraced, they were African. Like literally, one of our vice presidents was like this white man, but he spoke the language and he grew up there and he embraced the culture and that made him African, made him worthy of kind of leading our country. And so I think that goes to say that being African is more about the culture because even before we were divided up into countries by the colonizers, we relied on our culture and our language to lead us. So we have to go back to before colonization happened to kind of help us define what makes us African.
All right.
Yeah.
I think I would like to say something there.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I'd like to give a brief background about being an African. You can be Black, but yeah, you're not African, right? Basically, most times when we have conversations like this, I think for a very long time, we as Africans, we have held on to the 300 years of colonization as an excuse for us to be less of an Africa or more of an African than other people. right? It's a way to think when you feel like you are the only person who have endured the colonial torture. And of course, for the fact that you've endured the colonial torture, you're worthy of being called an African. But the truth of this whole matter boils down to the fact that there was a pre-colonial Africa. And of course, Africa is a very vast land, over 12 million square miles, over 12 million square miles here, to be precise. And Africa has 65% of the world arable land, and of course 10% of the world fresh water in Africa. And of course, Africa is the most resource abundant continent in the world, right? Yet, but the truth about Africa is this: the resources of Africa is little compared to what we stand to gain if we tap into our unity as Africans. So what makes one Africa? We have Africans spread all over the world. We have over 3 million African in France. We have over, if I'm correct, 24 million African in the US and over 12 million African in UK. And we have Africans in the Caribbean. We have Africa everywhere. And in the continent of Africa, we have 54 different countries, of Africans. Now, Africa as a continent has a population of 1.3 billion people. Africa as a continent, yeah? Then India as a country has a population of 1.4 billion people, right? And they live as a country, whereas in Africa, we live as 54 different countries. And it's very difficult as an Africa for you to travel to another African country, even though you live in the same continent. It's very, very difficult. I've been trying to work my visa to South Africa for a very long time now. It's very difficult, to connect as Africans. So now coming back to the subject, what makes you an African, right? Now, for a very long time, we have been separated. We have been separated by geographical locations, those Africans in the diaspora, Africans in Africa, and Africa in the Caribbean. But all of these factions of Africa are all striving. So what makes me an African is the fact that I do not allow civilization to expel my culture. That makes me a true African.
Yo, I got a question, Williams, because I got an issue with that. Honestly, I don't agree with some of the things that to a degree, because it's like, like there's Asians, there's Hispanic, there's Jewish, we could go all day and speak about different cultures, but it's like, why is it that Blackness have to be all inclusive? Why do we have to be the ones that include everybody into our culture, and we get the bare minimum from other cultures? You tell other cultures, oh, you might be Black. Oh, whoa. Let's hold on. And then when we gotta accept everybody, oh yeah, this person's 5% Black, so yeah, they gang now, they good. Like, so that's where the confrontation comes with, and that's why people think there's a certain level of acceptance, how much we can accept, how much can we not. So it's like, it's either you this or you that, and that's where that mindset comes from. So how could you explain how we could maneuver around that?
All right. First of all, if you're not Black, you're not Black. That's the truth. If you're not African, you're not African, right? Personally, in my own opinion, like I said earlier, civilization, right? It's not a total expulsion of a man's culture; it's the improvement of it. But in a very long time, we've grown. My name is Williams. That's not my tribal name. That's an English name, right? I'm an African. My tribal name is Ajali. Sounds funny sometimes, right? That we accept a foreign interpretation of ourselves and ignore, our own culture. True. We cannot accept everybody as being an African. I saw Lazarus wrote in the comments that in his opinion, being Black has a lot to say about being an African, right? And that is very, very true. Now, as a Black person, right? As a Black person, if we, like you said, we have Hispanic, we have Asian, those are not our major concern. These are not the people we're talking about. We're talking about the people who are Black and who are Africans. We have African in Brazil as well. So we have African everywhere in the world. But the truth is, African people have certain culture, certain way of life, certain belief systems that they have held on to for a very long time. The earlier Europeans that came to Africa, what they met was a very large swamp that is viscous in nature, right? And that has
Yeah.
manner of human killing mosquitoes and different kind of things around there. And of course, they felt like, because of course that vast swamp in Sudan, is located in Sudan,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is larger than the entire England itself. So they felt like
Yeah.
African people are primitive. You know, they met some Africans living around that swamp. So they felt like life cannot even exist here, right? So these
Yeah.
people who are around this place are primitive without any form of rulership, leadership. They're just living like animals and we are savages, right?
Yeah. So what QC what Lazi has said in the chat is, in his opinion, being Black has a lot to say about being an African. Lazi, you mind unmuting your mic to tell me what you mean about that? Tell all of us what you mean by that.
Okay, so in my opinion, when I said being Black has a lot to say about being an African, it's because um, in looking at an African, the first characteristics you know that this person is an African is by his appearance.
Mm.
You don't need to ask the person's name or where you're from, your country. By men looking at you, they know you're an African with the characteristics of a Negroid, as we've learned, right? The curly hair, the black skin. So I feel like if we accept that this skin, this appearance is what makes us Africans, I think that's the beginning of our awareness too, because we should pride in ourselves that yes, as an African, this is my first look, this is my first identity. This is what makes people see me an African. So accepting it, I feel like that would be our first way out to recognize our identities. Thank you. That's what I have to say.
All right. I hear you. I hear you. And that also goes into like acceptance, that into acceptance. Lambe says she disagreed. And then we're gonna get into what Dr. Monica Grant has said previously, but to touch up on it, Lambe, why do you disagree?
I think that if we say that your appearance is African, then we exclude certain people because there are certain Africans who don't necessarily look quote unquote black. You have like East Africans, you have Egyptians, you have the colored people of South Africa. And so I think say that because they don't fit the stereotypical appearance of being black, then it's very hard to kind of like say that they're African is kind of exclusive, like you're kind of excluding them. So I think I think I more towards being black, being part of your culture and the language that you speak, being like from Africa. Because if you say, oh, it's about how you look and your features, then you're excluding a group of Africans. You're excluding a group of people from the definition.
I think Zainab had something to say.
All right,
Yeah,
Zainab.
I do. So I guess I'm in like this kind of limbo with like both of what like point of views from the previous perspective versus her perspective. I definitely do understand the being of wanting to like be inclusive, definitely, like, you know, definitely redefine the word African 100%. But at the same time, I do understand where he's coming from with, it takes like, knowing where you came from, knowing that like, a Negro or African in per se, like is somebody who has dark skin, curly hair. I feel like I'm at a point where it's like, it's one, accepting who you are, and two, accepting that who you are can change over time with how the generations go down the line, i.e., meaning you can meet somebody who doesn't have the stereotypical Black features and they can be African, if that makes sense. Right. Like, I get like maybe like 20, 30 years back, like, we're talking about when they say somebody is African, they're expecting like dark skin, they're expecting like, sometimes tribal marks, they're expecting, they're expecting hair, certain hairstyles. Now it's like you can go to Sierra Leone and you can find a woman that literally looks Chinese speaking Creole way better than I have ever in my life. Like,
is that where you from, Zainab?
Yeah, that is where I'm from. So it's like, okay, I don't know. Like I'm kind of I'm in the middle. Like my definition, it could go either way. I feel like it just takes like us as Africans understanding that like, we come from what we come from, and that regardless of whether or not we're gonna like it, it's gonna change as time goes on, as it has already changed. So yeah.
Right. Basically, we get into the art aspect. We're talking about all types of culture. We're talking about art in regards to music, dance, and all of that. And I just want to know, how has like our Black art, because we don't get any reparations from our art, our expression, how we're putting into the world, and they're not putting it back into us. And I just want to go a little bit into that, and actually share something with you guys from Zainab, because she's a dancer and we went to school together. That's how I know her. She was a fire ass roommate. I don't think I'll ever get another roommate like her. I'm not there no more, but just as a whole collaborative standpoint, how is our art so powerful, and how can we take that back? But just to get like a little bit into it, let me just share the screen, and then I will show you guys what we working with.
I'm nervous.
Okay. Don't be nervous. Let me see. Can y'all see it still?
Yeah, I see myself. Yes.
All right, perfect. Let's see what happens. Y'all can hear it too, right? You can hear it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little blurry, but
highway, crossing my way. This kind of body that they crossing my way. I want to leave if you do I'm your way. Or if you want to do it my way. Highway, do me shit I don't take. You tell me and I know they go I won't play. I know they care till they buy my damn pray. Money on me mind outside. This guy.
we got one more. Hey.
Yeah. Woo.
Thank you, Zainab. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. That was a little bit of Zainab.
Okay. That was cool.
Just a little. Can I give you a little backstory on my art? Basically, I had my whole entire life, like I love dancing. My parents could tell you, like I was this chubby little girl, like Africans, best dancing gets $20, like that was my occupation growing up, like going to dance battles and coming back home with the $20. But I never actually got to like learn Afro beats or like actually like dance to African music. Like my family can't dance. Like they have rhythm, but like they're not performers. They don't do like, performances that consider Afro beats. Like it was to a point where it's like my mom, she put me in ballet. Like I grew up doing ballet, like American lyrical, like, different kinds of everything else other than that pertain to me. And to make matters even better, I was the only one out of my family members born in America. completely. Everybody else came from Sierra Leone after the war. They were refugees. So I was basically raised American culture. I was always left with like my God family, like they're Black American. So I came to college with the mindset of I have to join an African dance team. Like I never did it in high school. Like I didn't go to a high school with a whole bunch of Africans either. So I never really had African friends. Come to find out my roommate is half Nigerian and Black. So I'm like, oh, so you my sister. So yeah, being Black is definitely bigger than being African. But yeah, like I came with the mindset of like I want to get in tune with my culture, especially in dancing. I love dance. I feel like my biggest artistic side definitely goes towards dance. Like, and I try to diversify it as much as I can, especially now that like I'm in a position where I can lead the Africans of this Buffalo State College into expanding their dance. So it's like they help me help them. They definitely teach me a lot, get me more in tune with Afro beats and like learning just how to dance culturally in general, and vice versa. I teach them everything that like isn't so African. But like yeah, like she showed you the videos. Those are two performances I had did in the school, small performances actually. I have a habit of
Afrobeat.
not recording. Yeah, I don't record when I perform big shows for some strange reason. I'm gonna get used to doing that. I don't really like the camera, but yeah, like I feel like definitely dance is definitely my escape outlet, number one outlet into like getting into with my culture. I love African dance. I love everything about African dance. It just makes me feel like this is what I should do. Like that's literally my comfort dance now. Like tell me to dance and I'm gonna do some legwork to anything. But I
Word up.
definitely do feel like, yeah, dancing, especially to African music, it just gives me a vibe that I can't find anywhere else.
All right. Seeing on Zainab dance, it dawned on me that of course the gap between Africans and African the diaspora, music is really art. In fact, it's really bridging that gap, right? You've got the moves and we've got the beats, and you're using your move to dance on the beat and all of that. You see that this is what music can do. This is what art can do. This is what people will see them and watch you do and appreciate you for being you. I appreciate you for representing your own culture, your own beat, your own lifestyle, and your own people. You see, I think Samira, before we go deeper into this conversation, Cornell have something to say. He sent it on the comment section. I think if he would just unmute his mic and speak on this write-up he have here, I think it would be nice.
Before we get to the next person, Zainab, I think she has to go to dance practice actually in a few. So if there's any last words, Zainab, that you want to say or anything like that, you can right now. But if you have to dip out, it's fine. And yeah.
Yeah, sadly, I was actually really enjoying this conversation. Anything I can say? All I can say is I love being African. I love being African in this time period, especially. I feel like if I could, like, tell our maker, like, put me in a time period again, it would be this. I feel like perfect match for me. Like, I love that, like, I'm have such a balance with, like, I can relate to people who, having gone to 100% experience African culture, and I can relate to people who have experienced African culture. Actually, it's like, coming to school up here, like I didn't realize how African I was until I actually came outside and I realized, okay, like not everybody eats rice 10 times a day, or like, not everybody makes their food spicy, not everybody, not everybody eats goat meat, like, like, so it's just like certain things that like I just really, really appreciate. Like I appreciate that like I could be a part of the generation that is redefining Africans, especially within our art being music, being literal art, like anything. Like I just love it. I love that I met Samira. She definitely got me into the ideology that Africans come in all shapes and sizes. Like you would literally, I would have never guessed that she was African. Like until she opened her mouth and then she's telling me, "Oh, my aunt made me some jollof rice. Do you want some?" I'm like, "You? Like you eat jollof rice? Like there's no way." So it's just like, yeah, I feel like I'm happy that we're all here gathered today talking about this. I feel like it should be a bigger conversation within the African community. I definitely will push forth always within my art to, show that Africans we run things, you know. So yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Shayo. Sure. Sure.
Thank you
Thank you
guys.
for
Thank you guys.
Definitely. We'll see you.
Zainab.
Now, who was the
Thank
next person
you.
Sure.
that wanted to implement? Lovely. Williams, take it away.
All right, Cornell, if you're hearing me, kindly unmute and elaborate more on your comments in the chat box.
Sorry, I had to like try take out my AirPod and the thing kind of feels stuck inside the pod. So so I'm still struggling with it. Okay. I think I got it. Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah, we
you.
can hear you.
Okay, that's good. Hello, Samira and Mr. Williams. Thank you for
Hello.
inviting me to this. Can you hear me?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
okay. So it's actually a very interesting topic that you guys are discussing about, and it's a pleasure for me to join. And I just love what you guys are doing. It's beautiful. I my little bit to this is just one. I actually feel like blackness is bigger than being an African. Even though blackness is tied to being an African. That's how I actually envision it. I feel like being an African is kind of like the kingdom in a way, and we are like the prince and the princesses that represents the kingdom. So when we go out there to the world sees our blackness, and the power that we actually have out there depends on the power that our kingdom actually have. So let me take China, for example. A Chinese who go to any country and would be respected as a Chinese, not because of the person as an individual, but because of the whole kingdom of China. I'm just going to put it as kingdom of China. Um, um, just because of the place the person comes from, because of what China has been able to like make of themselves right now. So you have an American leave um, let me see, a person from the US leave the US and go to a different part of the world and be respected just because of the passport the person carries, not because of the person as an individual, but because of the power that that particular country carries. A German is respected in that same way because of the passport they carry, just because of what Germany actually stands for. And it's it's actually beautiful that we as Black people um, have a kingdom, and our kingdom is actually Africa. And in one way or the other, um, it's sad that people are only choosing to be African or be Black when it is comfortable, when it is cool to be Black.
Amen.
When it is kind of like cool to be African, and that's just the sad part. But I feel like being an African is not just sitting there in the Black skin and just saying yes, I'm African when it's cool, but what are you doing to make Africa great? Are you willing to it doesn't mean that you have to come wage a war or stuff like this, but it is like, what are you doing within your day? How are you living your life? What is your lifestyle saying about Africa? What are you kind of like trying to like tell the next generation? Like this is just a beautiful platform, and I really appreciate everyone that organized this. This is actually what it means to be an African for me. I feel like having this kind of discussions, setting up this kind of discussions, creating awareness like this and all that, it's what it actually means to be an African. But being Black, as I said earlier on, is way bigger than being an African. and it's more than our skin color. I feel like if we want to go back to the beginning, I would say everyone born on planet Earth is black. They have a bit. You call yourself Caucasian, you call yourself white, and stuff and that, like that. You come from the blackness before you became whatever you kind of call yourself right now. And we've actually learned that the so-called white people actually are people that their ancestors left a very, very long time ago, and because of evolution and all, whatever they have actually become what they are right now.
Pollution caused nearly 9 million deaths.
He wants to go to Germany. This is where a lot of the families are.
Inflation is elevated because of food prices, and that's a result of the recent weather disturbances.
An epidemic of gun violence.
Join us in this campaign to reduce gun violence.
The only thing